Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast Live Edition. We're Monday night quarterbacking. Not really quarterbacking, but we're hanging out on Monday night, drinking some cold beverages and talking Jeeps, talking all things Jeeps.
Don't we always?
Yes.
Even before we get on,
Yeah.
we're like talking Jeeps. We talk personal things, but then we talk Jeeps.
Yeah. Jeeps. Jeeps.
Sometimes they overlap and they're intertwined.
Yeah, let's make sure everything's mutated.
Mutated?
It's a new computer, and I'm still trying to figure it all out.
You're like, what button
I'm
is
like,
this?
how do I do this?
It's hard to go from Windows 7 to Windows 11.
Well, it's Windows 11, and then also it's a different, completely operating platform. So I went from Lenovo to HP.
Terry, isn't it nice to have a Mac?
It sure is.
As an old Apple guy, you and I are cut from the same cloth.
Mr. Eric is first tonight.
I know. I saw
Oh,
that.
man, I'm going to call Mikey G and
He
tell him
called
he's
me
out.
earlier, and I was eating dinner, so
Yeah.
I apologize, Eric, and I will call you back after this or talk to you tomorrow.
Yep.
I know why you were calling, and I appreciate it. You are the man.
He is the man?
He is the man.
He is.
He is.
I thought about you all day today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
He came to give me shit about not answering.
Perfect. All right.
Are we just going red button?
Yeah. Hit the
Are we?
button.
Are we?
I think-
Hold
I
on.
think
Let me catch up with everybody.
Well, yeah, like actually
Here,
we
real
got
quick.
we got a good hop on here, so we're
We do. Driving to AOA for Jamboree. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's Jamboree this
It is.
week?
At some point, I'm going to take up the Armorlight team and go to one of those
One time.
one time.
just one time.
Yep.
But you're going to band camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm on the wrong account. That's
Well,
that's why I'm
that
not
sounds
seeing
like-
all the comments.
that sounds
No.
like a personal problem.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We're going to kick things off and get it rolling. If you want to share it out there and get people on, that'd be great. Otherwise, we're going to hit that button. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast. We're proudly presented and sponsored by Armorlight, the toughest flooring on the trail. Toughest flooring on the trail, on the road, on the highway, in the driveway, in the
And-
garage,
And upside down.
and upside down, as we will talk about a little bit later.
Sideways.
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 Sorry.
Yeah.
Sideways,
And at the
upside
beach.
down, at the
Yeah.
beach.
Wherever it is.
Your normal to the
Yeah.
mountains, to the sand, to the whereversvilles.
And, tonight's episode, just like every episode, it's proudly presented as our presenting sponsor by Armorlight. GoArmorlight.com. Check the show notes. Get 10% off on all your flooring needs. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Tonight, we're in the studio again. We love it. I am Jeepin Terry.
I'm Breakabilly.
And Jetty Jason.
Hey, the team's all here. Well, 3/4 of the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
It's
The
And
doctor is
you're
out.
listening to episode 519.
oh yeah. We haven't done an episode number in a long
We
time.
haven't, so I figured we'd give you that
It's
update.
like an odometer reading.
And that
It is.
means we are on year 5
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
It's crazy, wild.
That's just
And-
sassy.
Is it, or did we start?
It's
Yeah,
definitely not
it-
519.
No,
Yeah,
we
no.
started with 100, 200,
Yeah,
300,
yeah,
400,
yeah.
500.
Yeah.
5 years.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is a logical progression.
Yeah.
It is. And
We
we're-
do some things in, like, common sense ways.
every once in a while we do.
Not jeeping things, but just other things.
Well,
Yeah. Well, it's good to hang out with you guys. I I've gone all week, just kind of, we bumped into each other at the Costco's.
Oh, yeah, and then we caught up a little bit there. I'm like,
yeah.
what are you doing? And it's like, are you Jeeping in here? Nope.
Yeah.
I'm shopping in here. I'm like, okay.
4 hours later, we both finished our shopping. It was great. But I haven't run into you. Really, we texted a couple times.
I was busy. This
You were
past
real
week.
busy.
Yes, you've been
I was on
bebopping all over a little bit.
leave.
Yeah, you.
You had freedom.
I was free flying.
You're a free bird.
Yeah.
We could
So,
fill that in several ways,
yep.
but okay.
I want to catch up on that because you were really the one of us that was jeeping.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
you jeeped.
couple things. I had a little transition between works, as I touched on in the last episode. I left my previous job, and now today I officially started my new
Yes.
job, and it's like
Which
over
is
the
why
moon.
I thought about you the whole day.
I know, and like my jeeping energy is like through the freaking roof
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Like on top of I was out wheeling all weekend, and it was freaking awesome. It was,
He's mainlining.
Oh, I was like skinny pedaling the moon through the needle, pulling a cow behind me, and it was working somehow
Good.
for 99.9% of the time.
I'm going to rate that a 98.5, but okay. It's all
So-
about the fun that comes with wheeling.
Yeah. So this past weekend, I was lucky enough to be invited by a good friend of mine, Tommy Williams, who is the founder, I would say, of Twin Stick Crawlers.
All right.
So Twin Stick Crawlers is an Instagram profile. Please go out, follow him. And he's all about just hardcore wheeling. He built this buggy that is called Baja Blast, and it is freaking sweet. Really low center of gravity on, I'm not going to butcher everything. So, either way, it's got a Jeep motor in it. It was supercharged at one time. Now it's not because it runs a whole lot better and you could do a lot more stuff. But it's on some awesome TSLs, and they just work. And
40s, 42s, stickies.
43s.
43s.
And can't lose on
No.
43s. Yeah.
Traps like
TSL stickies.
TSL stickies. All right.
So like I think they're Interco TSLs. All right. I'm like I said, I don't want to butcher
They're
everything.
grippy.
They're grippy.
Let's
They
leave
got
it at that.
Big old freaking nubs on them.
It's like I got a gecko on my Jeep.
Yeah, you can't drive down the highway on these things because it's like
The grain went this way.
Yeah.
it's like riding the rumble strip all the time
Oh, that's no good.
with 4 tires.
But it's good on it's good on rocks.
Good on rocks, good on mud, good on wet, good on everything.
Big rocks, no baby
That's cool.
rocks.
Yeah, big rocks. So he invited me up for an event called Let's Go Wheelin'. And it was just, he wanted to get up to Roush Creek, and this was very different than the AOAA trips that we normally have. This is full-on buggies and crazy dumb stuff.
You had not just buggies, right? You had a few builts in the group. They weren't just all buggies.
In my group, there was a few builts, but it was mostly all
It was all
buggies.
Gotcha.
Yeah, tube chassis and crawlers.
Gotcha.
There was I think it was like a 79 CJ that was rebuilt. It had the old Buick like 286 in it,
Yeah.
Sounds
V6,
fun.
with like a Dana 60 44 combo, like 60
Cool.
rear, 44
It's
front.
it's like playing
Yeah.
Dungeons
on
and
leaf
Dragons.
springs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like Dungeons and Dragons. Somebody rolled their own opponent. Hey, I
With-
got leaf springs. Damn it.
with a side exit
What?
muffler
Oh, really?
out of the like engine bay.
I was going to say, is it
Like
whole cut?
That
like
had to be loud
front-
and dumb.
No, he had a muffler on it.
What?
Like I don't know how it fit, but it wasn't awful.
I think it's amazing.
It was
I want to see it.
it was so cool.
Interesting.
And yeah, so there was it was really cool stuff. And we did everything under the sun at Roush Creek. And
Nice.
Roush Creek is a lot more condensed
Yeah.
like hard, more condensed.
Yep.
So on Friday, Tommy and I got to, just kind of play around. We did CV Trail. We went to Trail 5. We went to, we did Crawl Daddy.
Yeah.
We did all of Rock Creek
Oh, nice.
from one side to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other. We did Beaver's Den or something like that. We did all kinds of different stuff. So that was a lot of fun. Nothing too wild, too crazy. We did play around on the comp course and the stair steps and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And that was a lot of fun too.
Yep.
Not anything crazy. And then Friday night, a couple more buddies showed up. Woody's Jeeps.
Oh yeah. Good
from
friend.
Yep. Instagram. Woody's Jeeps. Josh Woodward. He showed up, so we went over to the comp course for a little bit, and he got me light on some sides and, just kind of dumb stuff playing around on the comp course. To one point that, I was in the back area, there's a couple different mounds of concrete. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
And there's this, really humpy triple mound thing, and I'm like, nobody's around. I'm like, just screw it. I'll drive up it. Whatever. I'll get to the top. And he's like, Josh looks at me. He's like, hey, man, you know what's on the other side of that? And I'm like, no. He's like, it's straight down.
Oh, is it?
There is, maybe a sliver of, not going over. And I thread the needle.
Yeah.
So, I try going. He's like, you can pull it over to the left, and maybe you'll hook and just kind of drive over the side, and you're fine. There is it's a double ledge, and then it goes straight down.
Jeez.
And so he was like, well, you got one option. Keep your tire on that ridge.
Yep.
And maybe it'll make it.
And just keep it hooked, hopefully.
Maybe.
Right.
Hopefully. So I kind of slowly inch into it, and then he looks at me and he's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Because it was coming down weird, hit the front passenger tire, probably dead center.
Yep.
And I had literally as it hit, I just gassed it. He was like, "How did you do that?" And I was like, "It was just instinct."
Yeah.
I was like, I knew what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And I hit the tire, and it rolled out. And there's, a couple other guys. Also at that time, Bill Eustace, good buddy, Hardline 4x4.
Yep.
Go check him out as well. He was up there, and he was like, dude, the look on your face and the way your body tensed was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where a lot of people's first instinct is to press the brake.
Oh, no.
And if you press the brake in certain situations,
that's not good.
you'll head over hill.
I was literally going front over end.
Yeah, your best opportunity is to try to excel through it.
Gas it out.
And let it ride. And I'm glad that's the choice you made versus...
Oh, I let it ride all right. And that was the last thing I... Well, no, then he made me turn around, and he's like, well, if you did that, you're doing this. So I kind of just drove up the side of the mound to a point where there's a notch and then another notch, and I drove over everything.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, just keep going. Just keep going. And I get both tires off the ground. I'm like, oh, shadooby, and gas it again and roll right out of it. He's like, there you go. So after that, I was done and parked it for the night.
Let the nerves grow back.
Yep. Settled out.
I was watching you on the social medias on Saturday, and across my feed I see Billy completely sideways on the camera, and I'm like, I know that he's just not holding the phone sideways.
That's right.
Tell me about that.
So we were out on Crucible. So the day started out, we went out on the opposite side of Roush Creek, opposite the parking lot, that I mean. And we start heading way out into the trail. So we go out past this area. It's called Trail 41, I think. Basically just big rock garden, play around in. And then from there, we made it to Outer Limits. Outer Limits turned back around. And did some other smaller stuff, and then came into Patriot Trail, Crucible, and Crucible is where I met my match.
Yeah.
So first part of Crucible, we did the lower line, which is like the red, ridiculous line, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool, fun, big rocks, ridiculous notches and weird placement. First part good. As we crawl over the hump, and you can make the exit out or go to the buggy bonus line. And I tried the buggy
bonus.
Yeah, the buggy bonus line.
That's where the points can really add up, Joe.
Yeah, we not many made it through, so we lost 2 Jeeps in Crucible. Buddy Kurt lost a front outer stub shaft, and other buddy Mike lost a drive shaft. And
Would Kurt bind up on the wheel and pop the?
it was, I don't even really know.
These things just happen.
It just popped.
Yeah.
Something popped. But yeah, so I'm going for the buggy line, and then all of a sudden I'm up. One tire's in the air, which there was a lot of tire hanging this weekend in general.
There's a lot of airborne tires.
Lots
reaching
of
for the
airborne
sky.
tires. There was a lot of
Jeep waving.
vertical.
But I
Jeep
think I
waving.
could fly.
Oh, I thought I could fly all right. And I start pulling into the buggy line, and I thought I was in the right position, and my passenger tire climbed a rock, and then it dropped into a hole, and then as it dropped into the hole, I tried to back up, and as I backed up, the wheel was in the wrong position, and it just literally slowest.
And then gravity said,
Yeah,
no.
gravity said 6 inches of flop, and you're going over.
Yeah.
Just 6 inches. That's all she needed.
It's all physics.
No, it was great to see that, and with some familiar faces that we know and some friends of the podcast.
Yeah, there was a lot of friends of the podcast up there, and it was a great weekend.
Yeah.
And then we made our way around other places. Walk in the Park, Jotter's Way, Trail 5, stair steps, staircases.
Yeah.
Some wheeling.
I probably
Wheeling. Like
yeah,
with a hard G.
hardcore rock faces, rock ledges, big gardens.
Yeah.
Blacks and reds galore.
It was
DEFCON red.
yeah.
That's awesome to
It was
get to play with people, kind of in your wheelhouse with your mentality, with your vehicle.
Just as
Right.
crazy as I am.
Yep. I know those guys can wheel, and they are sometimes
they
they
are
throw
drivers. Like,
caution to the wind
it's-
and send it. It's fun.
And the other thing is like, I talk about all these trails, and these guys have been like, I'm new to wheeling. I'm
Yeah.
going to say this, right up. This
Yeah.
is I'm on year like 5, 6 of actual wheeling.
Right.
These guys have been wheeling for 10, 15, 20 years, and they are drivers. They know how to put stuff, put their rig in precarious situations and drive out of it like it's nothing.
Mm.
Like, so
Yeah, you showed me some video, and I'm like, yep, you know where to
Yeah,
put that tire.
there was one of the last trails of the day. It's called V-Notch, and if you know Roush Creek, you know V-Notch. You've seen it, or you've watched it, or you've
Right.
or you've
walked
heard,
past
or you've
it.
heard the legends.
Heard the legends. I watched this guy Steve, Rock Jeep TJ on Instagram. He put it one side of the Jeep, the other side of the Jeep, and then proceeded to almost go upside down and then drive out of all of it.
Oh, jeez. That's
We literally were standing there. We're like, how?
awful. How did he do it? Right?
How did that just happen?
I know.
He, like, literally, the Jeep was sideways on the one side, cage on the rocks.
Yep.
He's still driving up it.
Yep.
And then he catches the tire. It flips him to the other side, drags the Jeep along that side.
He should change his rig's name to Honey Badger, because Honey Badger don't care.
Oh, Honey Badger didn't give a shit. And then all of a sudden, he's like sideways in the notch, and you just see the other tire pop up. And it's like, and he's driving out of it.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I like to watch that. That's fun.
It was awesome.
That's awesome.
And then there was some other people that tried. I got denied. I did give it a good, valiant effort.
Yeah.
I think the width of my axles is kind of giving
Were
me
they
some
all were?
issues.
So we were talking about that earlier.
They were all full
They
width
were full.
axles.
So okay.
Yeah.
Because that was what I asked you was, do you think
Yeah.
fulls on that particular gap
So
pays off? And you were like, yeah, because you got reach.
I was talking about it with a buddy. Actually, I was talking with Josh, and he said, and I think this is true, nobody's ever seen a JK do V-notch.
Oh.
So standard width, no way.
Standard width, no way. Like, it's you got to be almost like boat-sided. Like, there needs to be some serious rig action going on.
All right.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's
the
I
most
was
Jeepin'
jealous.
there's been in weeks.
I know. I was
it
jealous the
was-
whole time. Yeah, the most Jeeping I've done is I watched my Jeep get pulled away on a flatbed today. Got the wobbles going
the
bad.
wibble wobbles.
Yeah. Oh well.
That's very sudden.
But I did have to add transmission fluid
Oh yeah.
again.
Well, that's what
More.
that's what happens when you put it on its side.
I just
glug, 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 glug.
I added a lot of transmission fluid.
Nice. Well, while we were doing that, we got an interesting question on our live show. Joe's really good about doing a live question.
Yeah.
And so I thought, since it's a good kind of segue into listener feedback and emails, send us something. info@jeeplifepodcast.com, and we'll read it on the air. But this particular question came out live, and we've had some real nice response in the chat from everybody. So it's been good to see that. So, in-show question from Joe: other than exhaust sound improvement, are aftermarket exhausts like MagnaFlows worth the investment?
5 horsepower.
There is a
Hands down, 5 horsepower.
slight because of the compression and everything changes.
All right,
a
I'm going to
little
be
bit.
honest with you. It's a whole load of shit.
I don't think so.
It is
right?
a whole load of shit.
That was my second comment back, because I misread it at first, and I was commenting, hey, a lot of them have a sound profile. I'm like, oh, I misread that. Sorry. And I said, I don't know that there's really a performance improvement
all right.
to be said
I know
for
you've
a
spent
compression
some time
change.
working in this exact
So, just
arena.
I'm gonna be straight with you guys.
Yeah.
Let's go real basic.
Yeah.
You have an inlet valve to your motor.
Yep.
It only can suck so much air.
Yeah.
Into the motor. It's going to process that air and fuel mixture,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's going to send it out the exit.
Yep.
You still have a limiting factor of how much physical air you can get into that chamber to go out. So unless you change your intake and your exit,
Yeah.
you're not going to get any performance enhancement.
Mm.
I know they run them on the dyno and this, that, and the other thing.
It's
could-
marginal rounding
It's
errors.
so marginal, it could be like engine temperature.
Right. So, I mean, the MagnaFlows, they're typically axle back, right? And
there's the other thing.
Right.
If you don't remove the cats, you're not really changing your flow.
That's your main constriction.
That's your limiting factor.
And with the axle backs, you get a nice note out the back of your Jeep.
Right. That was my first response,
And
which was misreading, going, oh, yes, you can
If you're standing
find different
behind your
ones.
Jeep,
But in terms of flow, if you're not
You-
straight
you
piping or over
you might
piping
get a
or
and
changing,
a lot of these aftermarket exhausts, they have the axle back ones. They have awful chambering. I'm God's honest truth. Awful chambering.
yeah,
I know where a lot of these things are made,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're not in the United States. So
the is the preference to add that? Do you gain enough out of it, or are you better off maybe doing a cat back or a high clearance, or does it really matter?
So axle back, you're not going to get anything. You might actually lose some performance because of the design of the chambering of that system. They may have an X pipe versus a splitter or something of the sort. Depends on if they're a chambered or if they're glass packed. One exit, two exit. Does it? Do they loop? There's a lot of different technologies out of there.
Yep.
AWE has the 180 technology that they reverb the sounds off each other, so it's more of a neutral tone, but it sounds better.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot out there, but it's all weird chambering.
Yep.
Your Jeep was designed to run with its muffler.
Yes.
And its
Right,
exhaust
right,
system.
Right.
Yes, I get you want changes. Yes, sound is going to change.
Yep.
You're really not. It might.
It's not a performance enhancement. It's a aesthetic.
placebo
It's an
effect.
aesthetic.
It's a fawizi, Fawazi.
Yeah.
It's an aesthetic. It's an aesthetic change, not
Yeah.
a performance change.
No.
So I like the sound that I get out of my pipes.
Correct.
Scott and Eric are running, AWE, and
I
they
love
like
their
they
sound.
like their sound.
I love their sound.
So I think it's fine.
I love
something
pipe
that-
sound. It's and theoretically the 3 maybe horsepower you gain.
Yeah. Is it worth it?
If your butt dyno feels it,
Butt dyno.
we're gonna start employing.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, I had my I had to put a middle section in my pipes.
Yeah.
I had to go, AutoZone, take it off the shelf, put it in, and it just rusted, and so my pipes just fell off in the parking lot.
Lovely.
And so instead of hearing my sound, I feel it underneath me, always have, because the muffler's right under the driver's seat with that one. But instead of really hearing it in the back, I'm hearing it.
Well, the resonator is underneath.
To the side, yeah.
Yeah. And there's 2 major connection points right underneath the driver.
And so I'm like, this is fun. I like this. I mean, I'm going to fix it. And
right.
But
I'm going to straight pipe it and drill some holes in it. Yeah.
But I think when it comes to that, it's your personal preference of sound. Go out there and listen to videos and see other people's vehicles, and then pick
and
the
then
one
drill
that works.
holes in your exhaust pipe and see how it sounds.
Or just punch the cats. According to our legal team, we are not responsible for anything that we say or do on this podcast.
May or
and
may,
you please,
your
may
results
or
may
not.
vary.
Yes, and your results may vary, and you may blow an engine. So
I think
we are
you've
not
said
responsible.
that from the very beginning. But I don't know.
Wait, our original recommendation here was don't change it because your Jeep's designed to
Correct.
run with.
But if you like to, but we're Jeepers and we like to explore things.
Well, we like a
like
different
broom
sound
handles
than
and
just
catalytic converters.
the minivan motor.
Rebar.
And catalytic
punch.
converters. Works
It's like
better.
give it to Mike Tyson.
All right, so we got another email. Thanks, Joe, for always asking those awesome questions. So this is from Ted Roberts, and I'm going to assume he lives in East Tennessee. This isn't a comment about our podcast, but rather a 6-year-old blog post on our podcast page.
Oh my God!
Wow.
He spent some time up at Ripshin Lake with Jimmy Range fishing and just hanging out in the early 60s. And I wrote an article about my, going home and spending time with my mom because she was having surgery. And I grabbed my uncle who's a hunter and he knows those mountains inside and out. And so we just wheeled the whole week. And one of the places we went was Ripshin Lake, which is this little private lake just in the middle of, Nowheresville on top of a mountain. And it's a really beautiful lake, and because it's private, you wouldn't go there unless you knew somebody. And I, growing up, I had a friend of mine who had a house there. Their family had a house there, and so I, I'm gonna go up there and drive by the lake and see if I see their house, and just memory lane.
Yeah.
And then I see a road with no signs on it or anything, and I'm like,
gotta try it.
Gotta try it. If there's a gate or a sign or
you'll
something,
stop.
I'm not going on there. And then I went on about 100 yards and I pulled up a map. I actually had cell service, and it was National Forest.
Oh, okay.
So cool.
Enough.
And just took off. And so And there were 4 days of doing that with my uncle and him just showing me neat hunting trails and doing a little bit of wheeling. But this is, almost 6 years ago when I did this, and it was cool to have somebody respond, from a blog post.
That's cool.
That's cool.
We do.
Very cool.
Part of my job and part of my previous job was writing.
Yes.
So I'm used to people recognizing me for my writing, but I'm not used to it as the part of the podcast. And so I would encourage everybody to go to jeeplifepodcast.com and you can read some of our blog posts there.
And we got more to go up. There's not even blog posts. There's going to be technical posts.
Yeah.
There's a lot more stuff coming.
Yeah, we're growing that. So Ted, thanks for doing that. It was awesome. Kind of took me back home for a minute, and it was good to read that. We've got some events coming up.
Oh crap!
Or the world has events coming up.
Yeah, we're not. Well, some of us are going to these events.
Some of us are going.
I'm sorry. So August 2nd to the 4th is Toledo, Ohio Jeep Fest.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to figure out how to do that next year. I don't know.
And also, if you're a little more local to the Lehigh Valley, I heard this one, August 2nd to the 4th is also Doc Ock Fest.
Correct.
Das Ock Fest.
Das Ock Fest.
It's a car show.
It's car show, but also there's going to be some Jeeps hanging out over there as well.
I don't remember what their featured vehicle is this year.
Mustangs.
Is it? Okay.
So if you,
I'm going to retract that statement because my father-in-law will kill me because he is a 42-year Ford employee and a Mustang head.
Well, most Jeepers are car people as well.
Yeah. We
so
have one in the club that is a recent re-established Mustanger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's hot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're interested, it's a lot of cool stuff to take the kids to do this, that, and the other thing.
It's
if
good
you're
for
in
the
valley.
family. Good for the family.
So back to the Jeeping. August 22nd to the 24th is Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. August 25th is the Warren Trail Ride at Windrock Park.
Yeah, let's not blow by the Great Smoky Mountain because I'm going to be there.
You are going to be there.
Is
I'm
that
going to be
confirmed?
there and busy. Yeah, it is confirmed.
Confirmed.
But also, I'm taking the kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Confirmed.
That's cool.
Yeah, so the kid is going down with me. She's actually, because of her schedule and everything, she's never actually been to a real Jeep show.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm taking her to the daddy of all Jeep shows as her first one. So
you didn't even break her in with something.
No,
better
not
bring
at
a
all.
trailer. She's bringing back some stuff.
I know. Yeah, it's going to be fun. She's going to have a good time.
That's awesome.
And she's going to be hanging out with us at the Oracle booth.
Yep.
I actually got permission. She's going to help load in and tear down.
That's
so
really cool.
she's
Put
gonna
her to
be an
work.
Unofficial Oracle employee for the.
No, it's called volunteer.
You've
She
been
got
voluntold.
She got voluntold. But no, it's a good experience for her, and
It is
she'll be
not
able
illegal to volunteer for a company. Let me tell you that. Actually, it's called unpaid internship.
That's right. That's right. And she'll get a good chance to meet people in the industry.
She'll get to hang out with everybody. She'll meet Holly.
Yeah.
She'll hang out
Well,
with
she
so
knows
many
Holly.
people. Yeah.
She's driven with Holly.
That's true.
So she knows Holly. It'll be good for them to reunite and see each other. So it'll be
that'll
fun.
Be awesome.
So make sure to come by and see me at the booth, and we'll get a selfie together. And
No, see Lexi. Screw Terry at
I
this
know, right?
point.
And I
Jeez.
will have Jeep Life Podcast stickers on hand
Cool.
to give out.
You're going to stick them to your hand?
I am, and then I'm going to plaster them on somebody's forehead.
Okay, cool.
All right, then. September 6th to the 7th is Detroit 4 Fest in Hollyoaks ORV Park in Michigan, obviously. September 21st to the 22nd is Fall New Jersey Jeep Invasion.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That's
I'll
gonna
be there.
A good one in Ocean City, New Jersey.
You guys won't be there, but I'll be there.
Yeah, we're going to be hanging out with the Jeep enthusiasts of Eastern Pennsylvania, doing some trail riding once again at AOAA Trails, our local home park.
Yes.
And then October 19th is Crawling for Canines. I screwed up on this one.
Oh.
It's Marie's birthday.
Oh, come on.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
So she's coming.
She's pissed.
Oh, so she's coming.
She's pissed.
We're going to celebrate and make it amazing for her.
Good knowing you, Bill.
I'm gonna die.
Hey.
Died in October, boys.
Bill will not be guiding.
Sorry.
Oh, you're guiding your pot committed.
Yeah, it's choose your life or.
I like I like where I sleep.
I know, right?
So do I, but
Either way, there's a lot of fun things coming up. And if not, if you're looking to, promote an event, please send it to us, info@JeepLifePodcast. You can send it to our Instagram, Facebook. It usually gets on here. Sometimes it doesn't because we're just idiots. It happens.
We're busy.
We're busy. Or I forget to send it to Terry, even though I was like, oh, that's a really cool event. But please send it to us, and we're going to be continuing adding events to the schedule.
Yes, we are. I
go
know that Blinker
into-
Fluid Productions has the Creepy Jeep
Yep.
fall show. That'll be fun.
Also, I heard there's some other things possibly in the works with Jeep enthusiasts, and if you have an event in your area, please send it to us as well.
That's how things get on the list if it's not us.
Yeah.
That's how more
I'm looking at
people
that
learn
Hollyoaks
about it.
thing. I was like, oh my God, maybe I can drive my Jeep
Michigan?
there. Because my company is based out of the west side of Michigan.
Oh.
And I'm looking where it is, and it's
on the
sort
east
of
side.
it is in the northwest quadrant of
Oh, okay.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's on
there
the east side.
there are 2 or 3 2 or 3 people at my employment organization that are Jeepers. And what's
Oh.
interesting about Michigan is there's a whole area of dunes. And
yeah.
the thing with Michigan that I found fascinating is they have a state permit.
No.
So, for us, we sort of pay
a
our
fee.
patronage.
Yeah, pay
to
a
a
fee to AOA,
particular,
pay a fee to Roush, pay a
it's
fee
kind of, I was trying
to
to beat around the bush, but
FRO.
there you basically
membership.
there you get a statewide access, and these are
Yep.
state parks.
Yep.
I'm like,
That's called BLM.
I need to come out and do this because I can.
Well, no, BLM is free. No, you
not
still-
always.
No,
Some-
you still have to get a
No?
permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just BLM.
But they're like, it's I don't know, $40. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're not.
$40
it's
bucks. I'm like, what are
state-
you talking
it's
about?
state where BLM is federal.
Oh, okay.
That's
like,
that's
damn,
the
I'm doing this
distinction.
thing. So anyway, the point being, and they've got, I think there's at least 1 or 2 badge of honors somewhere around there.
Yeah.
'Cause my one buddy's got some tags.
I didn't even
and
check in.
No.
There's all so many trails.
Yeah,
And
right.
I'm like, oh man, I got to check this out and figure out how to make this work.
That'd be
So
cool.
that'd be cool.
That would
Well,
be
my
really
good friend Tom Zielinski runs Detroit 4 Fest, so definitely
Gotta find a way.
he's such a good
It
dude.
appears to be 9 hours and 10 minutes to Hollyoaks from
Yeah.
here,
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
a
like,
long ride.
It's a little bit of a ride.
Yeah, I'm depositing the LMTV in Tennessee, and they're taking it back to
That's
to
a good. That's a
Louisiana.
good handoff point.
So I was.
You've done your
Tom's try-
time, man.
Tom's
done
trying to
your
get
time.
me to get it up to him, and I'm like, man, I'm ready to have that. in
I'm
somebody
done
else's
driving
hands
over
for
the
a
front
while.
wheels.
Yeah, right.
Windrock's closer, by the way.
Yeah.
You've been riding my ass for the last 2
no,
years.
Windrock
about
isn't
this thing.
closer.
Yes, it is.
He's like, you can come with me. We can go. I'm like,
Windrock's
you know what?
8.5
You
hours.
drive
That's
down.
9.5.
I'll fly in, and we're gonna make it work.
All right.
You drive down. You let me know where you are. I'll fly in. I'll get
Yeah.
an Uber
That's
in.
not gonna freaking happen. Man. Not with all this
I'm gonna chop her in.
life-changing events.
So I know we've gone to these events. We've had a good time. We wanted to kind of finalize on a topic and not spend too much time on it, but get on it. And we've dabbled on this before, but
I don't even know if we really have.
we've touched on it. But I wanted to kind of jump in, and you brought this to the table, so it speaks. But I want to talk about sway bars
Oh, wow.
and sway bar end
You
links.
swaying around? You getting out on that dance floor, man?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Doing the Macarena.
I'm doing that,
and all that other
middle school, 7th grade.
funky chicken.
Hand on the hips, sway.
Sway.
Yeah.
Sway. Well, it's kind of a good metaphor to say, like, actually, you're putting your hands on the hips between your frame and your axles.
Yep.
So a sway bar is basically a bent piece of solid steel or a rod of sorts with arms that connects these arms to your axle through a set of linkages, and it prevents your body rolling either side to side. And it's generally created through torsion or the twisting of that bar or that steel component. There are a lot of different upgrades that you can do for sway bars. Some of them being to the itself, the sway bar component, or it could be replacing your bushings, or it could be adding some linkages, or it could
some
be
disconnects.
Well, they're considered linkages.
Fair enough.
Or you can be completely changing out the design of the sway bar.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Cool.
I think we just did. No.
All right, done. Bye.
Well, I mean, so when you buy your Jeep new or used and nothing is done to it,
Correct.
you have just a sway bar. There are bolt-on
So
links.
let's start
to
with
that.
what the sway bar actually looks like.
Yeah.
It is a kind of a bent tubular looking object.
Yeah, think of a long, wide U,
Yes.
right?
Very spread out U.
Yeah.
Almost like bull horns.
Upside
there you
down.
go.
Backwards
Because it's
bull
facing
horns,
down. It's
yeah.
coming off bushings, off the frame,
Correct.
down to linkages that link down to mounts on the axle.
Yep. So they, as Jason mentioned, the bull horns go through 2 bushings, one on each frame rail. So
Yep.
that's what creates
how we
the body
are
roll.
Binding the frame and the body roll to the axle movement.
Correct. And then, they're kind of squished at either end with a hole in it, and then it goes into a ball joint linkage that goes down to another ball joint at the bottom into your frame mount tabs. They are considered fixed length sway bar links, and they are non-removable theoretically.
Yeah.
It takes it's a nut on the end of a ball joint stud, which is kind of a pain in the rear sometimes to get off. You might need some courage.
Liquid encouragement.
Yeah. I don't know what to call that. Vice grip encouragement as well.
PB
sometimes.
blaster.
Yeah, PB blaster and vice grips.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's, and the whole concept behind it is if you increase the diameter of that bar that runs in the horns or the wide U shape that connects between both sides of the frame, you increase the stiffness of the sway bar, and vice versa. If you reduce that, it's going to get lighter stiffness.
Because it all stems back to,
Body roll.
Earlier Jeeps had a lot of body roll,
Yep.
and with the very short wheelbase and the narrow axles, they and basically with a little bit of height, they tend to roll.
They roll a lot.
Yeah, in the corners, and
Yeah.
You don't want
accidents
that.
happen.
Tippy teeter totter.
Yep.
over
Billy
there.
knows about rolling a Jeep over.
Oh, just even off camber body roll in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what a sway bar is. And you need a sway bar for on-road use, because what happens is you come into a corner at 40 to 50 miles an hour, and it's not a bad corner, but it's a corner.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, your whole body of the Jeep, kind of where you're sitting or what you feel in your buttocks, it goes, oh crap,
Into that turning
into
tire.
the side.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole body. You'll
It
feel
leans in.
if it's a right, if it's a left-hand turn, you'll feel the whole side of the Jeep just lift up.
Yep.
And you can't do nothing about it because there's sway bars aren't there.
Right.
So
And
sway bar.
a lot of this
It's
is impacted because
it's a
it's
stability thing.
solid axle up
Yep.
front, and it increases the amount of roll
Yep.
that can occur, and so it increases stability by having that sway bar there.
Stability, traction control, it all plays into a sway bar, your suspension. It's a very crucial suspension component. But as Jeepers, we like to change things.
Yeah, we do.
So there are some performance improvements that you can make on your sway bar. So some of them are external to your sway bar, and some of them are the sway bar itself. So first off, when you're going off-road, there is a large recommendation from experienced off-roaders to remove your front sway bar links. So what that does is you keep the sway bar in the rear of the vehicle, so you still get some stability out of the vehicle. When you're off camber, when you're out wheeling, you're doing this, that, and the other thing, right? So when you disconnect the front sway bar, though, meaning you unbolt your factory sway bar link, bottom link, and then you can zip tie it up, or you just completely remove the bottom and upper nuts, and they come off. What that's going to do is going to give you a lot more articulation in
It's going to let that front move.
Yes.
It's going to let it sway.
It's going to let it sway.
It's going to not sway.
Correct.
Or no,
No,
it will allow it to sway.
It allows it
and
to
not
sway.
fight it from swaying.
Correct, and gives you a much smoother ride out on the trail. So in the front, it allows your front to disconnect and move more fluidly.
Correct.
But in relation to the rear, you're still going to feel all of those bumps.
But
sideways
boy, is it
things,
a difference.
this,
Because
that, and the
I
other thing.
wheeled my first time out wheeling. I didn't know I was supposed to do
No
that.
idea.
And I'm like all over the
Just
damn
bounce.
place.
You
and
bounce.
then the next time it's like, oh, that wasn't smart. Okay, I'm smarter this time, and I disconnect and I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better.
Bounce, bounce, bounce.
It was just more fluid. It really allowed the vehicle to maneuver and just let the front flex and move with
So
amazing amount in a stock Jeep. I hadn't even done a lift
Yeah.
at that time. It made a world of difference. 2 bolts, all the difference.
it gives you a lot more traction, actually, too, because you don't tend to lift a tire as easily. So it, allows the back
You're
axle
not bound
to
up.
stay.
It lets it just go.
Yep. It allows the back axle to stay a lot more, planted, but also gives your front axle that movement to
You
stay
can maneuver
planted
to
as well.
climb and move, and
Yep.
some of the things we've talked about where you're trying to put rubber on a rock and maneuver, and it can climb, and you just decouple it from being bound by the frame and the weight of the vehicle.
Yeah. So, okay, now as Jeepers, we want to change things.
Yeah.
And what do we change?
Everything.
Exactly.
Oh, wait.
So we are going to start with the links themselves.
Yes.
There's a couple companies out there that sell quick disconnect sway bar links.
Right, because every time you pull into
An
Parking
off-road
lot.
park.
you don't want to have to take out the wrenches and unbolt.
Correct.
Right, you do that 5 times and
Yep.
you're done with that. Right.
Yeah. So on the newer Jeep models, the JLs, they actually are tending to trend back to leaving one of the ball joints attached to the sway bar. I've noticed that on some of the major companies that sell sway bar links. Of course, we don't have a main topic sponsor for this as well, but so there's JKS there. There's a couple other pretty much every suspension company.
Yep.
Daystar, Rough Country.
Some off brands. I mean, it's a fairly straightforward part, and it's not overly complex. It's a set nut, a threaded. It's essentially like really just the 2 bushings.
Yep.
And then of course the replacement, the pins that they go on.
Yeah. So quick, easy replacement, as Jason said, all that stuff, and you're easy to change them out. What it gives you is the pins. You pull the pins.
A little
cotter snap.
taparoo.
Yeah, some of that, and you disconnect your front sway bar.
Yep.
When you pull in, when you pull back to flat ground, you reconnect your sway bar, and you're good to go.
See, you just slipped flat ground in there like it was nothing.
Now what?
Keyword.
Keyword flat ground.
Flat level.
Or you have somebody that's like hanging out of your driver door,
well,
like,
that too.
bro, can you bounce? Okay, I got it back in.
So this obviously is a conversation that's being had about sport or Sahara vehicles models
Correct.
because they don't have what a Rubicon has.
Oh boy.
And the Rubicon has sway bar disconnects that are automatic
Well,
and electronic.
An electronic sway bar disconnect.
It's a push button.
Correct.
Playground.
So, and that gets more into other styles of sway bars. So kind of standard sway bars, you can change the diameter and change the thickness of that bar itself to change your sway bar ratio. And then obviously you have the Rubicon, which is an electronic disconnect where you have to be in for low.
Yep.
That is one stipulation of...
Interesting. I don't think I knew that.
Yes.
Yep.
One stipulation of the Jeep Rubicon.
It's wired
sway
through the
bar
ECU to
disconnect.
know, or the
Correct.
computer, that it knows, hey, hang on.
It has to be in for low for
Okay.
you to be able to disconnect.
Not even
your sway
for
bar.
high, for
Nope.
low.
For
Okay.
low.
All right.
And this is a mechanism that has a gearing or clamshell that engages, disengages, and it's electronically controlled by a solenoid.
Yep.
So when you go off-road, put it in for low, hit the button, it disconnects, it unlocks that
And just lets
clamshell,
the two sides maneuver.
and it just lets it flex.
Yep.
So that is one style of quick disconnect.
Yes.
That's like phone it in disconnects.
Correct. It's one style. There are other styles out there. I have seen a single arm quick disconnect, mechanical or air actuated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I think it's Raptor Off-Road or something of the sort. They have a pin system on the one side. It's
Okay.
basically it's a complete replacement of your sway bar. So it incorporates a different design of arms and a center bar versus your U-shaped bent bar. So this gives you two fixed, basically, billet or steel arms that are parallel to the frame rails, that in a top-down looking at the frame rails, they're parallel.
Yep.
And then the bar itself is a specific diameter that gives you your sway rate that connects those two bars together.
Right.
And then you have fixed length sway bar links. As I said, on these quick disconnect systems, they have an actuator on one side, whether it's a pin that you pull, whether it is an air actuator, an electronic actuator, solenoid. They actually disconnect the one side of that sway bar,
Right.
and it allows you to flex freely.
Now those stay connected. Is that correct?
They're connected,
Yes
but they
and
disconnect in the middle.
Whoa. Let's back up. Some of them switch to another rate of sway.
Right,
I gotcha.
right.
So it's a stiffer rate when it's connected,
Yep.
and then it's a lesser rate when it's obviously not connected. There's an inner bar versus an outer bar. They run together. One's gun drilled. It's really cool how they do it all. And then there are some that just disconnect the actual one arm, and it's
Right.
like completely free. Both are really cool. And then, so that's one option of quick disconnect. And then there's an air actuated G2 front sway bar, which you can't buy anymore, unfortunately, because it was a really cool system. That one switched from a high rate sway bar to a low rate sway bar via air actuation,
Yeah.
which was really good for coilover vehicles, because they still need a little bit more sway bar rate in the front, but it would help with the traction, obviously, going back to that. And then the last option of sway bars themselves is an anti-rock sway bar. So Curry Anti-Rock Systems makes a sway bar that is it's a very specific metal urology of there's an outer hardened not material. It's just they case harden the material basically. So it's a metal that has a harder outside rate versus the inside rate. So at high speeds, they figured out that if it's case hardened, it won't move really that fast.
Yep.
However, if you slowly flex it, it'll flex.
That's crazy.
And it'll spin.
Yeah.
But under fast conditions, it won't do it. So what is my opinion of anti-rock systems versus others? I think it really depends on what you're looking for to get out of your Jeep. Are you... I've heard that you really shouldn't run an anti-rock sway bar system in the front of a vehicle because they don't tend to work as well as you would like them to.
But to improve that back.
Hold on. For on-road use.
Oh, okay.
For off-road use, front and rear anti-rocks, sweet.
Yeah.
For like a coil-sprung Jeep or coil-over Jeep in general. You know, a lot of people run anti-rocks in the front and the rear on Jeeps. Some people just run them on the front. Some people just run them on the rear. I think it's a lot of preference. It's all about your butt dyno in general again.
Yep.
And yeah, so I actually just purchased an anti-rock system.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
For the rear of the JK.
Oh,
there
nice.
you go.
And on top of it, I got a Rubicon quick disconnect.
Did you for the front? Of course you did.
And then I'm going to run the Evo pin system.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, basically eliminating the actual motor that is the electronic side, so it's just pin. So when we pull into the off-road trails, pull the pin, done. And get out on the trail.
Well, that's awesome. I would like for us to at some point maybe dive in a little bit deeper, maybe see if we can get
I think
the
we should
Curry
do a
guys
video
or the Rock
on
Jog guys
what
on
they each look like too.
Yeah. But if you have questions about it, send it to us. Maybe we'll answer them on the air. It'd be great. info@jeeplifepodcast.com.
Help us dig in the right things.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your questions? What's going on? You know, why...
Are you looking at certain systems or certain, like the anti-rocks? Are you looking at it and wondering something?
And on top of it, let's maybe in about a month or two, I'll get the anti-rock system.
And get it on.
Yeah, I need to find time again. And I'll give a review on the anti-rock and see what I think.
Sounds good. I like it. You know, we normally you can find us just about anywhere.
Heck yeah.
Go to our YouTube page, like and subscribe.
I found you at Costco.
Subscribe. You found me at Costco, stalker. But you know, find us, share us, tell everybody about us. Come see us at the shows.
I got a challenge for people out there.
All right, do it.
Find me on what podcast I recorded this previous week.
Oh, there we go.
Wasn't this one?
Well, I
Sorry,
think
Terry.
I think that's in your contract, dude. I might dock your pay a little bit.
I was an interviewee.
Yeah.
I was being interviewed.
Cool. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for us. Make sure to find us, check us out, leave us a review if you can. Do all the things that you would normally do with a podcast. Do it for us, please. We would love it. And, you know, for Breakabilly, Jetty Jason, I'm Jeepin Terry, and here's a big Jeep wave to you, everybody.
Slap that like, slap that subscribe. Beepity beep.
And let it ride.